Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready? Everybody, it's Jeff. Another rainy day here in Maine, but I hear tomorrow's supposed to be sunny, so that's good. You know, I didn't see as many worms on the ground today, so maybe they all found a way to scuttle back over to the grass here and hide again. Yeah, it's just weird how yesterday the parking lot was all full of worms, and some of them pretty damn big too. Crazy, like I said, they're friggin' night crawlers. But anyway, I got a couple of videos here. This first one is from Kyle Kalinsky, and he's got some video of a town hall meeting that went kaput. And the MAGA people in the crowd were just fucking livid, you know, about things. And so let's go and watch that, and then we'll talk there about it afterwards.
Let's keep coming, y'all. Every time there's a town hall held by a Republican politician, the people are furious. Like, over the top furious. Now, as you all know, they have a conspiracy around this. They like to say that George Soros is paying these people. These are paid protesters, and they're like, the whole point is for them to create chaos. But first of all, that's not true. Second of all, the idea that, hey, if the people at the town hall are Democrats, obviously you reject anything and everything they say. Like, why the fuck would they count? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because they're 50% of the fucking country, dipshit. So they're not even right. There's zero evidence of any paid protesters, George Soros funded. And by the way, look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk is actually paying people he was paying people to vote. He was giving away $1 million checks. He spent $270 million to buy the White House for Donald Trump and the Republican Party. So it's all projection. All that shit is projection. But Mike Johnson told the Republicans, like, hey man, just a wise word of advice here. Don't do any more town halls. Just don't do them. Because it's not going to go well. Like this, they know that. They've seen the videos. They understand that. And they cope about it and lie about it and say these are all paid agitators. Well, guess what? Now we have another Republican town hall. And, I mean, these people, you're going to see here, I don't know how many of these are actually MAGA or former MAGA versus Democrats, but some of the commentary that's coming out of these things, I mean, people are done. They're done. Remember the Chuck Grassley town hall where you had these people who look straight out of central casting to be Trump supporters who are saying, Trump's destroying the Constitution. He's ripping it up. He's shipping people out with no due process. He's not listening to the Supreme Court. What the fuck? Somebody was like, if I had a $1,200 ticket and I didn't pay it, would that be okay? Well, he's ignoring the Supreme Court. So they're going Insky, bro. They're going Insky. So here we go. Let's watch this one. This has some amazing comments.
I'm alarmed.
Yes, ma'am.
We are experiencing a blatant violation of America's system of checks and balances. We are kidnapping people, even trafficking them to another country, paying to keep them imprisoned. That is not how deportation works.
She said we are kidnapping people and human trafficking them. That's exactly right. I've struggled with this myself. I was calling them deportations over and over, and it's like, that's not what this is. Deportation implies some semblance of due process. There is no due process. They're just stealing people off the streets and shipping them to a concentration camp. It is kidnapping. It is human trafficking. She's right.
No trial, no proof, no paper trail. We are the terrorists in this situation.
a Republican town hall, and she just said, explain what was happening, and goes, we are the terrorists in this situation. We are the terrorists. Holy based. Jesus Christ. I can't, like, the one silver lining of the Trump era is the mass awakening that's happening. People are really starting to think about these things. They're going, hold on. Why should I accept the notion that we're the good guys by default, no matter what? What about when we do an illegal invasion of a country that didn't attack us and lied about it to get in there? I don't know. That seems pretty bad. What if we steal people off the streets, kidnap them, and human traffic them to a slave labor concentration camp in El Salvador? I think she's right. I think she's right. And Americans need to... We have all been indoctrinated with this notion of American exceptionalism. And nothing has ever been more bullshit. Because at the same time they say we're exceptional, they also pretend like we believe in democracy and everybody's equal under the law. Well, you can't have it both ways. Are people equal or are we exceptional? Another way of saying American exceptionalism is what? American supremacism. So yes, being an American supremacist is a thing. And it's fucking ugly. It looks a lot like the Nazis.
If our government does anything about this, then this can happen to anyone. There will not be a single person in this country who is safe if this goes unchecked. Our Constitution will be null and void, and fascism will be here. I didn't vote for this. You took an oath to support and defend the Constitution and the freedom it affords its citizens against all enemies, foreign and domestic. How can you support our president in these actions? And does this contradict your belief in the Constitution?
Yeah.
What a great fucking quote. Jesus Christ. How do you checkmate dude in one question?
100% deporting the individuals that are in the United States of America illegally. 100%.
He said, I support deporting people who are in the United States illegally, 100%. Well, that's not even what's happening, Dippy. That's not what's happening. You didn't answer the fucking question. Listen to that crowd. Listen to that crowd. They fucking hate it. They were chanting, due process, due process.
Garcia, Andres Cedeno and Marilyn Gutierrez. All three of them deported accidentally.
Not accidentally.
Jesus Christ. Holy shit. So obviously this is to prove that, yes, it was... They were deported accidentally. They said it was an accident. But they don't care, right? They're like, yeah, we deported the wrong person. We don't care. We still kidnap somebody and human traffic them, and we support kidnapping and human trafficking. See, this is like, think about what it takes to be a Republican in April of 2025. Like, think about what it takes to try to defend this in April 2025. Think about it. I mean, you're just a fascist, right? Like, that's it. Like, that's it. It's unconscionable. You are just a fascist. There is no spin you could put on it to soften the blow that, by your own words, with your own policy positions and what you support, you are a fascist.
The result of that adjudication for deportation has supported and the rest of them.
I love this. And again, if you look at the crowd, it really is straight out of central casting MAGAville type stuff. And to have these people just be so aggressive with them and be like, you're fucking lying, bring back due process, it warms my heart.
This is something that the previous administration could have done.
What? The previous administration could have what? Rounded up gay makeup artists and sent them to a concentration camp? What are you talking about?
It's a good way to tie in something else.
Shame on you, they're saying.
Because we're Floridians, I'm going to tie in FEMA to this. FEMA, very specifically, meant to help Floridians during hurricanes.
He just stopped it. He just pivoted right to, well, let me tell you about FEMA. Oh, you mean the thing that the president you support is also trying to eliminate? That thing?
tornadoes, things like that. One of the reasons that you see things going on with FEMA was FEMA as one example. $1.5 billion of your FEMA money gone to pay for illegal immigrants in New York City in their hotels. Those things come to an end.
These people are hopeless. You got to kick them all out of office. I mean, it's that simple. You got to kick every single one of them out of office. These people are un-American with the best version of America in mind, the good parts of American values. This is un-American, right? It is what it is. Everybody needs to keep going to these town halls. Anytime you see one, go to it. Anytime you think, hey, should I call my congressman? Call them. Anytime there's a hands-off protest, do it. Like every single way you can to get the word out there and keep the energy up and keep the vibes up and keep the pressure on, it's got to be done. And I think already that the pressure has led to a number of things. I think the fact that we know Kilmar is alive right now is because of the pressure. So we can't stop. We got to ramp it up. It's got to be ramped up 100-fold, 200-fold, because that's the only way we're getting out of this. You know, the courts are doing what they can do. Congress is basically useless. It's on us. And so I love this energy coming out of this town hall. Some of these people, ex-MAGA, just straight up being like, you're a liar. This is shameful. Bring back due process. That woman said, we are the terrorists in this situation. They're doing their thing, bro. They're on it. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like
Due process. Well, when you got MAGA screaming that, you know you fucked up. You know, it's true. When you got them screaming that, you know, okay, you guys really derailed your own goddamn momentum here. You know, and this party can't anymore sit there and say they're for law and order, okay? Because twice they rejected it. Once they rejected it with Kamala Harris, and second time they rejected it when it was okay for Donald Trump to start kidnapping people and trafficking them over to El Salvador. Okay, that's not law and order. That's not being supportive of it. Okay, and when you're doing that shit, and you're at the same time trying to say, oh, we're trying to bring order to this country. Well, you can bring order to this country in a lot of different ways. But the way you're going about doing it is you are creating disorder in order to create order, and that's not going to work. Okay? You don't fucking shit on your own fucking rules of civilization here by trying to bring order to the problems you have. Okay? That's when you do that, it's like overcompensating for an issue. All right? It's like, oh, I can't get this goddamn screw into this board here, so I'm going to go get a sledgehammer and put it in there. I mean, that's kind of what government does, and that's what you guys are advocating for, is to take a sledgehammer to put in a screw. Okay? That's, like I said, it's ridiculous. It shows a lack of intelligence on your part when you people think in extremes like that. Okay? There's no logic, there's no understanding of the nature of the problem. You guys are just approaching it from everything is a nail and you're a hammer. Okay, I mean, it's just ridiculous. And yeah, this is one of the reasons why they don't want Garcia back in this country, because they know that it's already upsetting MAGA people in America, and to bring him home and have him get on to the first news outfit that grabs him and say his side of the fucking story, I mean, you can't unring that fucking bell. And Bondi and all those fucking sycophants that surround her and Trump, okay, they are doing everything they can to keep him from coming home. Okay? Doing everything. They're even going after his wife. Believe it or not. Talk about low. I mean, every day this administration finds a new low to sink to. Okay? I mean, it's like they live in the gutter, and therefore everything they do is going to be of that nature. I mean, how long does MAGA want to stay in there dirty, smelling like shit all the time? Okay? Because they really do. They really do. And I think a lot of these people have, a lot of the MAGA people here have pretty much said enough of this. I'm tired of smelling like shit all the time and trying to say it smells like roses. Okay? Because it doesn't work. You can convince yourself of a lie to a point, and before it becomes too uncomfortable to sit in that lie anymore, you know. And I think, you know, like I said, every day MAGA starts to lose a little bit more of its strength. Okay, You know, don't tell me about how many people voted for Trump. That was 3 or 4 months ago. A lot has changed in that time. A lot has changed, and that's due to Trump. It's not the same. It's not the same fucking demographics anymore now. If we were to have that election today, Kamala would win, no doubt about it. She would fucking win if they were to have it done now. So, like I said, this is a time now where MAGA is starting to wake up. Like Kyle says, it's a great awakening in MAGA, which is, you know, it's kind of frustrating that it had to happen after we told them that this shit was going to happen. But it's good to see that it is happening, that these people are finally waking up, coming back to reality. Okay, and for those folks, I say welcome to the real world, because this is where Democrats live. We live in the real world. We live where we see the damage being done. Okay, this is what's happened. This is the real America. This is what you've done. And if you really are intent on reversing this, then join us to undo this mess, okay? And don't ever forget about this either, okay? Don't ever let yourself forget about these days, because you need to remember them. That's a good lesson in life to learn, especially for you young voters out there who are, you know, I don't know, just bullied or gullible, I don't know. Learn something from this time, okay? So you can pass this down to your kids or something and say, look, this is how you pick a president. You know, don't make the mistake that I made listening to a buffoon, okay? And believe me, there's a lot to learn from this, just like there was a lot to learn from Hitler's time, you know, on this earth, and how all of us should have reminded ourselves continuously on how to spot a bad apple, okay? And for some, you know, as much as, you know, you got the History Channel and all the TV shows that try to educate the masses out there about, you know, things like that. I guess not too many of us were paying very close attention to that, and that's unfortunate, because, you know, a lot of effort by historians to try and, you know, lift the veil off of our eyes so we could see, you know, things clearly. And when you don't see things clearly, bad things happen, okay? And I think a lot of us, you know, should have been watching more History Channel than watching reality shows and bull crap, you know, that they've been making, you know, on streaming services. You know, I think the history is something we all should be soaking up here as much as we can. But, you know, when you have a leader that, you know, when you got people, fallen soldiers coming back home, and your leader's out there playing golf, I mean, you can't get any more un-American than that. And when somebody is that un-American, why would you want to give that person a leadership position in anything? You know? And you know, the other thing that the people at this town hall where they were screaming, "We are terrorists." I remember the CPAC convention that the Republicans had. I can't remember what year it was, but at the top of on the stage, they had a big banner at the top that says, how did it say? We're proud to be terrorists, because this was like after the January 6th thing, okay? And we were calling these people terrorists. Well, they were trying to take that as, oh, okay, well, we're going to own that because we are the terrorists. We are true patriots, our terrorists, okay? And then they put that. Well, now, people at this town hall are saying we are terrorists because, yes, we are kidnapping our own people and human trafficking them over to El Salvador. That's terrorist activity, okay? Especially when we ignore due process. When we ignore due process, that makes it all illegal from the very beginning, okay? And when you go after judges and you arrest them for trying to enforce due process, you know you've crossed the line. You're not a patriot anymore. You are a domestic terrorist. That's what you are. That's what you are. And I'm telling you right now, the terrorists that hit us on 9/11 are probably laughing their fucking asses off saying, geez, we didn't have to do any of that shit. All we had to do is just wait. They're going to kill themselves. Okay? We're giving those terrorists what they wanted to see. We're letting them win. Okay? And, you know, and someone had commented that what's happening to this country now is just because of all the years we've let school shootings happen and all the dead children, okay, and all the fucking crimes that's going on in this country that we would not fucking try to stop because too many of our politicians were connected to the weapons, gun, you know, the gun creating people out there, you know, the gun lobbyists, okay? We're too tied to them, and this is payback. Okay, our country's going to fall apart because it has no moral standing. It's got no ethics. Okay, money over everything. Okay, and so we're paying the price. We're going to pay a hefty price for being that way all these years. So they're thinking that it's just that's the reason why we're not going to be able to stop it, is because, you know, it's fate. You know, our own flaws are going to do us in. And, you know, I can't say I disagree, you know, with that, at least not 100% anyway, but I could see from their point of view the frustration of trying to get this country to do the right thing when bad things happen and they can't or won't because someone's, you know, buttering their fucking bread here. Okay? Greed. Lobbyists. You know, greasing people's palms. I mean, that shit has gone on too long in this country. It was inevitable that it was going to happen, that, you know, these things were going to happen. Once you get greed in the system, greed becomes the system. Okay, and now we got Trump, the symbol of greed, in the system. The end, right? That's how you close this chapter on the American experiment. That's how it's going to end. Okay, and I say this because I have less faith now that the midterms are going to do much of anything to change what is, okay? Because Trump has already proven himself to ignore the courts, to go after the judges, okay? What have the courts got to enforce the rulings when the president won't? Do they have a military? Do they have a police force of their own? I mean, think about it. I mean, if I was to defy court order and continue doing things, I would get a knock on my door from the fucking police. But who's going to knock on the door of the White House when Trump doesn't obey a court order? Last year, all these times, you know, he was defying the court, contempt of court. He tried to fight that, okay, and they were reluctant to actually charge him with contempt because it shows how scared the judges were, okay? What makes you think that anything the Supreme Court of all people say is going to matter a hill of beans to him? Okay, this is not law and order. Okay, this is law and break it. This is what he does. Now that might, you know, for MAGA, they go, oh, good. They're idiots because they're just laughing at their own stupidity, and they're going to soon be the victims of their own joke. Okay. That's who's going to get the last laugh, okay? But the thing is that, you know, what we have now in a situation like this is that if he's not going to listen to the courts and we have our midterms and the Republicans lose control of everything, it won't matter if the Democrats control the Congress and the Senate. It ain't going to matter. You know, impeachment, he ain't going to show up for that. If they vote to impeach him and remove him from office, he's not gonna extricate himself from office. He'll stay there. You know, even if they park a row of tanks in front of the fucking White House with their barrels aimed at the goddamn windows, he still ain't gonna leave. This is the arrogance we're dealing with here. I mean, and the fact that he's mentally, you know, falling apart, that's more, I mean, it's going to take somebody inside the administration itself to physically fucking remove him out of there, okay? But who did he pick that you would think would do something like that? Okay? Maybe that was the whole point, because he knew how things were going to end for him. So he had to find people who didn't have any balls or a spine to be able to oppose him when the time is needed, okay? He's surrounded himself with a shield of people who are going to defy whatever the hell happens outside the walls of the Oval Office, and he's just going to stay in there, and he's going to issue his orders, and some people will follow the orders, and some people won't. So what he'll do is he'll create a division in this country of people who are pro-Constitution and people who are anti-Constitution. You see where this is going here? I'm telling you, a civil war, I mean, no matter how you cut this, there's going to be a civil war in this country. There has to be. Because he's already banging his heads against the courts. I mean, we're like this fucking close. I mean, we're closer to a civil war than we are to World War III right now in this country. That's where we are. I don't know how people don't see this, but it's coming. It is coming, I'm telling you. You know? And if, you know, if some miracle doesn't happen, like, you know, he get a heart attack and die, you know, or something else, this is how things are going to end here in his administration. It's not going to end through, you know, him getting voted out of office. Okay, it's not going to be some big victory in the booths in the elections. Okay, no, it's not going to happen that way. It's only going to happen through violence. Because he's setting it up that way. He is setting it up that way for just violence. I mean, that's all he understands. I mean, look, he used violence in his own campaign to try to bolster himself to get into the goddamn White House. 3 times he tried that. Okay? So this is a guy who ain't afraid of, you know, rattling the sabers and actually swinging at it. You know, okay? He ain't afraid of that. He's not afraid of doing these things because he's a sick mind. Okay? This is the difference between Hitler and you know, Trump. You know, Hitler had a plan, basically, that he followed, and damn near took the world with it. This guy, 3 months into his fucking presidency, and the world is already against him, the country is already falling apart, and he's got nothing. I mean, he's even worse than Hitler, I mean, in that way. Okay? It's just, this guy, he kept telling people, I got plans, I got concepts of plans, he didn't have nothing. He had no plan. All he had in front of him was a signed document that he signed of Project 2025, and he promised the Heritage Foundation and the sycophants in it that he was going to follow that down the list, just so he could get his fat ass into the White House and dodge going to prison for the crimes he committed. That's what went on. And people, the MAGA people, they cozied up inside those fucking MAGA blankets only to find out that the things were full of smallpox. And that's where they're at right now. That's where they're at. And the dumb ones are gonna linger in there, you know, longer, obviously. But there's going to be fewer of them in there, okay? Because sooner or later, a lot of these people's livelihoods are going to be directly impacted by Trump's policies and tariffs and whatever the hell else he's doing, okay? People are going to be more directly impacted by this, and that's only going to turn the tide against him even more. But, like I said, it's only going to turn against him in numbers, but it's not going to mean anything to him. His approval rating could be in the negatives, and he still won't give a shit, okay? So, even if the whole country was against him, you have to expect this guy to follow the rules in order to leave or whatever, but he's not. He's not. Even, you know, it's just making constitutional crises in his eyes is good. It's just because he thinks the Constitution is bad. It's wrong. Really? The only problem with that is that the people that have a problem with the Constitution are the ones who don't want to follow it. Okay? Those people who have followed it have done pretty well as politicians in this country. But those who don't want to follow it, you always find them, oh, they're in a scandal. They got, you know, they did this or they did that or they're getting picked up for that. You know, all these people, all these crooked politicians who don't like to follow the Constitution, they all get embedded in some goddamn scandal. Okay? And Trump is no different. They have no ethics. And, you know, what was it that Biden said here, one of his last speeches here before, you know, character means everything. Character is a very important quality in a leader. And he directed, I know he was talking to Trump because Trump was in the front row. I think this was during the Carter funeral is what it was. That's what it was, the Carter funeral. And that's when Biden said, character is an important thing. It means a lot. Biden has plenty of character, okay? Trump is a mess, okay? He's a mental mess. And there's nothing redeeming about him. Like Robert De Niro said, there's no redeeming qualities about this guy. You know? And so what we have, you know, is the worst kind of man in our White House, and he's like shit that's stuck to the wall. You're not going to get rid of him that easy. Okay? Because he's not going to want to leave. No matter what the courts say, no matter what the people say, okay, he's going to just say, fuck you all, I'm staying, I don't care what you say. Okay? And that's when things are going to get violent, unfortunately. I don't wish for it, but I just see the handwriting on the wall, basically. That's the only way this is going to end. I mean, look how he was for 4 years after he lost the election. He wouldn't shut up about that. Kept saying that they cheated him, and they did this, and they did that. And I'm beginning to think, you know, the only reason why he was so pissed is he probably was rigging the election then, and he didn't rig it well enough so he could win. And that's why he was so pissed off about it. To me, that would be a good motivating factor for why he spent 4 years bitching about Biden on this and that and everything else and trying to turn the whole country against the guy. But that's you know, that's just my theory anyway. And if some people in MAGA are out there accusing some of these protesters that showed up at the town hall of being paid to be there, first, I don't think you need to pay anybody to hate Trump. The people will do it for free. Okay, it'd be easy to find somebody. Okay, and if they're saying that, then that probably means that they've done that themselves in rallies at Democrat, you know, speeches and stuff like that. Okay, it's almost like when they accuse people of doing something, they're actually confessing to have done it themselves. Okay, all right, so let's go to a commercial break and we'll come back.
I'm Alex Curtis, I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins, I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you. Original.
Have you heard about the salt trick that's making men last for hours in bed? If not, pay close attention. Seriously, salt turned my husband into a bull in bed. He always had a sleepy worm and even used those little pills. But after he started doing this simple 15-second salt trick under his tongue, he tossed the pills away. The transformation was incredible. The worm turned into an iron anaconda, and even at 61, he's putting guys in their 20s to shame. I've never seen anything like it. Apparently the salt turbocharges blood circulation down there by 34%, making it thicker, harder, and lasting longer than ever before. It even works for men over 70 or 80 because it's all natural. My friend's 78-year-old husband had been suffering from limpness since he was 43, and now she says she has to beg him for a break because he's making up for all those lost years. If you want to see how it works, my husband made a free video showing step-by-step how any man can do the salt trick at home. Just click on the link in the description or on the first comment pinned. Imagine making your woman scream, roll her eyes, and have her legs shaking tonight, then waking up tomorrow morning ready for another round with the tent pitched. As a woman, I can guarantee your wife will thank you for learning this little trick. So click on the link below and watch it while it's still online, because I'm not sure how long my husband is going to want to keep sharing the secret.
It's funny, Donald. This time it only took 2 months before your own team started stabbing you in the back and tearing each other apart. The knives are out. Elon attacking Peter Navarro and calling him dumber than a box of rocks. Navarro blasting back. Howard Lutnick under fire from your own West Wing. These idiots, please. Anonymous sources. Leaking. Drip, 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 Donald. Everyone around you is fighting, Donald. Not for you, for themselves, for their power. They're all leaking to the media. Telling the truth about your mess, your mistakes, your embarrassing performance at everything. And while they're fighting, you're sinking. Looked at your polls lately? Don't. They're as bad as your stock market. You thought they'd be loyal to you, Donald. Are you really that naive? They're ripping you off, getting power and fame from you while leaking against you. It's sad, Donald. So sad.
Donald Trump said he had a plan. What happened? Stock market crashed, trillions of dollars lost, retirement accounts gutted. Chaos. So Donald Trump backed down. Inside traders on Wall Street made a fortune. But about the rest of us? Our retirement accounts are worth less than when Trump took office. Thousands of jobs down the drain. Small businesses devastated. There's no plan, no grand strategy. Just bad ideas that make the rich richer and hurt the rest of us. It's a clown show. His chief trade advisor was in prison last year. Mortgage rates are up. The price of eggs skyrocketing. Retirement funds down. Republicans control Washington. It's not working.
Girl, but I am a few person of your love, so I will leave you when you said you had love.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it. Write for Pollution Booklet, Box 1771, Radio City Station, New York.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. All right. So, second part here, and second video. It comes from. This is the first time I put this fellow up here, and he has his own little show called "The Enemy from Within." He's a truck driver who does little podcasts about things, and I thought this was important to get a perspective from a truck driver here up on today's video, because we heard that Walmart is saying in a couple of weeks their shelves are going to be empty, and then some other stores are saying May 1st things were going to get thin, you know, in the stores. And I heard that you know, ships are not bringing in as much stuff to the port. So I thought, you know, maybe we should you know, listen to this guy's point of view here on what's going on. So let's go to that video here, and we'll talk about that a little bit on the other side.
Donald Trump's failed economic and trade policies, more and more American industries are beginning to get hit by the problems that Donald Trump is creating all by himself. So yesterday, we talked a little bit about Mack Trucks in Pennsylvania laying off quite a few employees, and they specifically cited tariffs as the reason they were doing that. And in the video, I had said this is going to be one of the signals, sort of marks the beginning of problems coming to the trucking industry in America, mainly because they're saying that their demand is down and the tariffs are killing them. And if demand is down, that means companies are not swapping out their trucks as often as they used to. Things like that are causing their demand to be down. And I said this signals the beginning of the downfall of the trucking industry. So we're going to talk about that today. For those of you that don't know, I am a truck driver. I'm sitting in my truck right now. I know this industry pretty well, and I was here the last time Donald Trump crashed it through denying COVID, which maybe we'll talk a little bit about in this video. I'll give you a little history lesson on how all that went down. But I want you to understand something. I am not a Donald Trump supporter. I have never voted for Donald Trump. I've never flown a MAGA flag anywhere in my life. As a matter of fact, I've always known that he offers absolutely nothing to working class Americans. And I want to point that out before somebody puts me in one of those fuck around and find out memes on the internet. I never voted for that son of a bitch in my life. I know I look like a dumb hick, but I don't always act like one. I don't always act like one, okay, my friend? So, yeah, don't turn me into a goddamn meme on the internet, all right? I've always been against this bastard. Anyways, we have got major problems coming down the line for trucking. I said in yesterday's video that we tend to lag behind the economy because a lot of things are shipped in on the shipping containers. That takes time, according to one of my viewers, around 20 days to make that trek. And then we move everything that's already come in, and that takes us, you know, a week to move it across the entire country. And that causes this huge lag before we really start to feel the effects of what is going on. And now we're starting to see it in the shipping, in the ports. All the products coming into America, and pretty soon here that's going to affect trucking in a very, very negative way. And the vast majority of truck drivers, for some fucking reason, vote for Donald Trump overwhelmingly, and it's unfortunate that I'm probably going to get hit by this too, but I've always said since the beginning of this that unfortunately we're going to have to go through these bad times, because maybe in the future, if we survive this, people will be more responsible with their fucking votes. But I don't really know. But one of my viewers is also a truck driver, said he noticed that he works out of the ports, and said that he has noticed a significant slowdown over there, which I thought was interesting news. But what I thought was even more interesting was I was talking to another truck driver that didn't have his head all the way up Donald Trump's ass. And that was truly the most shocking part of the entire conversation. So shout out to that guy for getting his head on straight too. I don't know if he was ever supporting Trump or not, but apparently not now. So that's good news. Anyways, the ports are definitely starting to slow down, and there is some metrics you can track to see this. And one of those is called what was it called? Hold on. I had to go look it up because I keep forgetting the term, but it's called blank sailing. And blank sailing means that there are shipping ships out there that are skipping over ports because they don't have enough product going to that specific port, so they just move on to the next one, Or, I guess from what I read, it's entirely possible that the entire ship gets canceled because there's just not enough freight to move. And that is the biggest metric that we are seeing now. And that is going to hit the ports. According to the experts, it's really going to get bad right around the 1st of May. And that means all the truck drivers that are hauling out of those ports to provide goods to the American population are going to quickly find themselves out of a fucking job, no work to do whatsoever. Now, there are a lot of short-sighted, small-minded people out there that go, well, what's that got to do with me? I don't haul shit out of them ports. Well, you got to think of all the displaced truckers now. Now, first of all, you got to think about all the other things going on. How about all the displaced veterans because Elon Musk ran amok all over our fucking government? Do you think a lot of them looked at trucking? Yeah, they sure did. We'll try to touch on that a bit later. But all these displaced truckers now that don't have work coming out of the ports are going to have to go find work elsewhere, and they'll probably look for towards trucking in some other capacity, maybe not having to do anything with the ports. And the point of all of that is it's going to cause a ripple effect through the entire trucking industry. Sorry, my GPS was talking and distracted me, but through the entire trucking industry. And trucking works on very, very simple supply and demand. They look at how much capacity is in the area where they're trying to move freight. Capacity referring to an empty truck ready to take a load. I'm not sure that's how I wanted to say that, but that's the way it came out. It's filthy out here, my friends. Anyways, and they compare that to the freight volume in that area, and that's how they come up with the rates. Very, very straightforward, simple supply and demand type of thing. And when you start flooding the market with more and more drivers going to a certain area because they ain't got no work at the ports anymore, that causes the rates in these other areas to start to decrease decrease further is what I meant to say, because there's too much capacity in that area. And we used to hear a term for a long time in trucking where they would say driver shortage. We haven't heard that since Donald Trump wiped out the trucking industry the last fucking time he was in office. But you've got small businesses going under. You've got veterans losing their jobs. You've got truckers now facing the fact that they're going to lose their job and look for other trucking jobs. And trucking is generally looked at as a recession-proof industry. The thought process behind that is, well, everybody's got to eat, so there's always going to be a trucking job. Well, trucking might be recession-proof, but it's not Donald Trump-proof. And we're going to talk about that. Give me just a second. But the point is, the ports are seeing crazy short drops in volume of freight coming in, all due to Donald Trump's tariffs. 100% self-inflicted by Donald fucking Trump for no reason whatsoever. Nothing about these tariffs make any sense. And we're going to see a massive, massive drop. Even if you don't work at the ports, there is probably something that you haul across this country that initially comes through the ports. Even if it's a local product, maybe the packaging is imported, or any number of things. Any number of parts on your truck can be imported, and we're going to see a shortage of that also, or completely unaffordable if you're an owner operator and you need to go buy one yourself. But I promised I would give you a little history lesson, because history repeats itself under Donald Trump. So he single-handedly crashed the fucking trucking market the last time he was in office. And I don't know what happened. I don't know why so many truckers still vote for Donald Trump. After seeing that happen, they must have got amnesia, bumped their heads, COVID wiped their memory out. I don't really fucking know, because Donald Trump single-handedly crashed trucking the last time he was in office, and a lot of people actually went fucking bankrupt over it. And let me explain how it happened. First, Donald Trump denied COVID existed. You remember that? And the very initial results of that were when everybody kind of started to accept that COVID was a real thing, you had a bunch of panic buying going on. You had fist fights over fucking toilet paper going on out there. And people were buying shit like en masse, just fucking crazy. And since truckers tend to be older, I think our average age is somewhere around like 58 years old for truck drivers. Once they started realizing, oh shit, this COVID's a real thing and it's going to kill us, a lot of truck drivers went home. They pulled their trucks off the road, or they went home, whatever it is they did. And so we had all this panic buying going on, truckers leaving the road, and just a few truckers left out here. And we got treated like shit, by the way. We weren't allowed indoors, period. You couldn't go inside anywhere, fucking shitting in buckets
markets out here. You know, it was fucking chaotic. It was crazy. Anyways, this caused a massive spike in the amount of money we're making. Don't worry, I'm getting to the good part where we all go bankrupt. You know, the part we're all waiting for. But this caused this huge spike in the amount of money that we were making. And I'm not shitting you guys. If you owned a truck at the time, you were making $10, $11, $12,000 per week. Per week. It was absolutely fucking insane. But what then happened after that was entirely Donald Trump's fault, because millions of people lost their own small businesses. If they had them, they couldn't stay in business anymore, and millions of people got laid off from their jobs. Well, remember, they looked to trucking because it's a recession-proof job now, isn't it? And then, so a bunch of people that were small business owners that happened to have money in their bank account before they went broke, they decided to go out and buy themselves a truck and start their own trucking company. And because they heard how much money we were making, and that was kind of our fault. Us guys were on YouTube talking about how fucking rich we were, and we kind of fucked ourselves during all that. We should have kept our mouths shut and said we were going broke out here, but we were making the kind of money we'd never seen before, and we couldn't keep our mouths shut about it. And all these new trucking companies just started popping up. Well, how about the millions of people that got laid off from their jobs because they no longer could go to work? Well, they did the same exact thing. They said, trucking is recession proof, I'm going to go out there. All of a sudden, the market gets flooded with motherfuckers just trying to earn a paycheck. I don't mean motherfuckers disrespectfully. I mean motherfuckers very respectfully. They were just hardworking people trying to earn a paycheck. But we got absolutely flooded with just millions of new truckers. Just, I don't know if it was millions, but it was a fucking lot, right? Supply and demand, like I said, all of a sudden, our rate per mile that we were doing $4, $5, $6, $7 per mile sometimes dropped to $1 a mile. Oh shit, diesel was also fucking, depending on where you are, $5, $6, $7 per gallon, right? It was just absolutely fucking insane. Oh, and the supply chain was completely fucked at the time, and you couldn't buy a part for your truck. I know I covered some of this in yesterday's video, but this history repeats itself under Donald Trump, right? The market comes crashing to the fucking ground. Trucking companies going out of business left and right. I mean, literally shutting off their fuel cards when they had drivers on the road. A driver would go to a fuel pump, try to put diesel in his truck, fuel card wasn't working. He calls up his company's office to find out why the fuel card's not working, only to ring to a disconnected line. They were leaving drivers stranded on the road while these trucking companies were closing in huge fucking numbers, right? And this was all a result of Donald Trump denying COVID, completely mismanaging the fucking thing, sending the world into complete chaos, and everybody needed a job all at one time, and they all looked at trucking. Donald Trump 100% crashed it the first time, and he's going to crash the shit again, because he's dumb as hell, right? But the point is, right now, that we're obviously going to see the freight volumes drop substantially, because I don't know what the fuck's going on. The truckers listen to too much Fox News or something, but we are about to lose our asses out here. And I don't know. I wish I had a fucking answer. You know, a lot of people ask me, why don't you organize the truckers and get them to stand up to Donald Trump? Good luck. That ain't gonna fucking happen, all right? I'm not much of a laugher. I giggle more than anything, but I don't laugh too much. That's probably the hardest I've laughed in a long fucking time right there, because it just isn't going to fucking happen, okay? But I'll try to wrap this up. I try not to spend a half hour here on these videos anymore like I used to do. I could talk for a while, can't I? But anyways, we're going to see this all work together. It's a domino effect, and Donald Trump will once again, after he's already put out a lot of Americans out of work so far, we are going to see disastrous results from Donald Trump's stupid fucking trade policies. And it's happening now. It's starting now. So it sucks that I got to get caught up in this. I guess my only hope is to start making good videos around here. I'll give that a shot. Maybe I need to make like 300 videos kissing the Canadians' asses so they like me more. I'm just kidding, Canadians. I love you guys. But we're about to hit hard times here. And I don't know what else to do but laugh about it, because we're completely fucked is the word I'm looking for, and we're starting to see that soon. Anyways, I got to get back to work while I still have a job left to go to. Love you guys. Bye now.
Yeah. So yeah, there's the tariffs, trickle down effect. Yeah. when it comes to the tariffs. We're all going to pay the price for that. It doesn't sound like Trump even wants to acknowledge this is going to be a problem. He's not listening. I heard that he had a meeting with some CEOs of like stores like Target and all them a few days ago. Don't know how that went. They haven't said anything about what, which is kind of a surprising thing that the media couldn't get anything about what was said to him. But I'm guessing that it has something to do with these CEOs saying, look, we're not getting enough stuff here in our stores because of your fucking tariffs, and we're going to go out of business here if you don't do something to undo this shit. Okay? I mean, I'm guessing that was probably what was said. I mean, what else would they be talking to the president for? He's the guy that started the tariffs. Okay? And the tariffs will affect them. And what's their bottom line? Consumer buying. Okay? That's what runs these fucking businesses. When we're buying, they're happy. But when we're not buying, they worry. And it reflects in the stock market. And that's why the market's shaky right now. And why there's pockets of, like the depression in this country already forming right now. This trucker here who's starting to notice that there's less stuff for them to haul around. And also the railroad industry here in the country is also reporting a decrease in volume since February. So they're also reporting a lack of things to ship around too. So things are slowing down. Things are slowing down. Where before it was booming under Biden, and in just 4 months, now things are down to a crawl. And it's going to come to a stop eventually. But the ships are not coming into this country here with things for the stores to buy, and I doubt even China's bothering. Why would they want to care about bringing anything into this country now? I mean, if nobody's putting in orders for stuff from China, because hey, if they pass on the tariff to the consumers, which they do, the consumers aren't going to buy. The stock's just going to sit there. I was looking, somebody had posted a copy of their bill, Temu, for those of you that shop Temu. They ordered something from Temu that was like under $50, and the end total with the shipping tariff that was put on there raised the bill to over $104 for a $50 item. It doubled in price. So much for Temu. Okay, it's not their fault. Don't blame Temu for it. What they're doing is they're trying to do business, but they're trying to pass on the tariff to the customer because they can't afford to pay it, and stay in business. That's a lot of fucking money. So they pass the bill on to us. They figure, well, if they want it, they'll pay it, right? But I mean, look, if we were running a business, would we do the same? Yes. If I ran a business and they threw a tariff on me, yeah, I'd pass it on to the customer. So why would anybody expect them to be any different? I mean, before the tariffs, I mean, it was nice to shop from Temu because they had a lot of good things, and and it was really cheap to get. I mean, I was buying all kinds of shit from them there last year. But now, I'm hesitant now. I mean, I'll go on there and I will see if I can check out, and I'm waiting to see when them prices start to, and when it does, I'm not gonna order, but I'm just carefully shopping. I noticed they took their $20 limit. I mean, there's like, if you're gonna buy something from them, you had to spend more than $20, okay, before they'll ship it. Well, they dropped that, I noticed. So now you can order less than that on there. So that means, they're not really wanting to do that anymore because they know the prices are going to be higher for the Americans. So they're trying to ease it back a little bit, so that way people can still buy things on there without having to go over $20 in order to get it. But it's sad. I mean, because I bought Melissa a lot of neat Hello Kitty gifts stuff last year from Temu that I would have paid through the nose for in the country here. Hello Kitty is not a cheap thing around here, but But I got like backpacks and jewelry and stuff practically for nothing from China, and she liked all that stuff. But now that's gone. You know, I think that's going to be gone. And, you know, Walmart this year, they had a lot of nice things on the shelves for the Easter and Christmas and all that. That too could be changed. You know, they're not going to. I mean, this happened during COVID too. When we had COVID, the holidays came and went, and Walmart didn't have crap in the stores for anything. After the restrictions were lifted, during COVID, then all of a sudden Walmart started to get back their usual stuff, and everything was great again. And now we get Trump in there, and he's bringing back the era of COVID again. Okay, through the tariffs. So instead of COVID, it's the tariffs we're going to suffer with. And so now, you know, how can corporations in this country survive with this up and down, up and down, up and down thing going on in this country? It's the same thing that I was saying, you know, a week ago about why other countries don't want to do business with us anymore, because we're not consistent. You know, and I shouldn't bring it up, but I don't give a fuck now. When I was in school, my teachers used to bitch all the time. Why can't Jeff's grades, you know, stay consistent? You know, he's either, you know, a C student 1 minute, then an A student the next, and then a C student. It's like, why can't he just stay even? Okay, you know, and this is what I'm thinking when I look at these goddamn these signs here from, you know, the way America does its business and how the rest of the world sees it, is that America's doing what I was doing as a student in school. They don't stay on the fucking top end of anything, okay? They don't strive to be at the top, okay? Excellence. They say, oh, American excellence. Where? Where's the American excellence? Honestly, I mean, people go around saying, you know, we're great and everything. I don't believe that anymore. I really don't. I haven't believed that for a long time. Okay, maybe I imagine it was so, you know, in my father's, when he was a kid. Okay, when my father was a kid, it was probably a much better period to say American excellence, because we were booming. Our economy was the economy of the world. Everybody else was still recovering from World War II, and they didn't have their economy up and going yet. But we were helping other countries recover from the devastation. So we were the economy to go to. We were the powerhouse everybody looked to rebuild. And that made us an incredible manufacturing entity. I mean, we dominated the fucking world. And now that the rest of the world's all built up and they got their own industries and stuff, we're not needed as much anymore. And instead, we cut our own throats by getting rid of what little we had left in manufacturing and letting it disappear into other countries. So now, where we were American excellence decades ago, now we are just a banana republic. And we've had politicians over the years trying to make it seem like that's a good thing. And unfortunately, you know, at those times, people were trying to say, no, that's not a good thing. This is going to bite us in the ass. But nobody wanted to hear it then because they were too busy trying to win seats. And then, you know what I'm saying. Politics overcame fucking common sense. And so here we are, you know. I mean, Robert Reich, of all people, he's one of those way back in the 80s who was telling people how things were going to end up in this country if we kept going down the same road here. And during the 90s, he was really spoken out through back then, during the era of the talk radio nuts. Okay, so he was out there hammering it home that, you know, the Republicans are leading the country astray. They got us following the wrong path. It's not going to lead to greater days. You know, it's just going to lead to economic recessions and depressions. And if we're not lucky, we could lose what we have for a democracy as we try to correct it. You know, and, you know, he was right, and he's still right. He still talks today, you know, on, you know, at universities and you know, and sometimes online. He brings up these same talking points. And this guy, and this trucker here that he was talking about how other truckers, a lot of them are MAGA. Well, I can tell you where that came from. Okay, ever remember Sirius XM? Remember how everybody had that in their fucking cars and everything? Well, the truckers had that in their trucks. I mean, it's long drives. You know, you got to have some entertainment. You know, more than just fucking music. And for a lot of people, the Sirius radio had a lot of talk shows on there. Okay, I'm not talking about Rush Limbaugh. He was on regular radio, but Sirius XM had all the other fruitcakes out there that were doing right-wing talk as well. And these truckers would have Sirius in their trucks, and they would listen to that shit. Okay, they would listen to that because they were probably, a lot of them were Republican to begin with, but Sirius XM and getting access to listening to the nuts made them extreme Republicans after a time. And that's where that came from. And so I feel like, you know, the messaging is an important thing, and why I keep saying that Democrats need to have internet supremacy, because the Republicans have had it too easy over the years to get their message out, and Democrats need to seize the opportunity here, especially now where MAGA is starting to crumble here, and their support of this madman is waning. Now is the time for the Democrats to step up and take over here and get the messaging out. And yeah, I understand, I just said in the last segment that, you know, even if we win back the houses and all that shit, Trump still isn't going to fucking cave. It still would make life more miserable for him to get things done when the courts are constantly kicking down his door, you know, or just basically, you know, trying to, you know, gum up the works for him. And hey, would make me happy to see Sham Bondi spending the rest of her time in court trying to fight against everything. You know what I'm saying? You think she looks older now? She's going to look a lot older there in just a few years. Okay, but I just feel like that's you know, it would be a good first step to get back what we lost. But like I said, I still feel like it's only going to take us either being at the door of just, you know, violence, or simply having violence to finally get rid of Trump once and for all. I mean, because obviously it's not going to happen in the way we all wish it would, okay, and the way Democrats want it to. It's not going to. I don't think it's going to happen that way. The Democrats are too easy. Republicans are too rough. There's got to be an in between there. That's where that's where we come in. The American people are going to have to come in, you know, and fill in where the Democrats are short and where the Republicans have taken too much. That's where we're going to have to come in. So, yeah, and I read here today, DHL shipping company announced they're going to stop delivery of high-cost items to private citizens because of the fucking red tape that's involved with tariffs. So, you know, hey, that's one outfit. Soon there'll be another one, probably this week. You know, hey, every week new things keep happening in this country that aren't good. Every fucking week. It's difficult for me to pick out all the things that happen in a day's time what to put out there to talk about. So I try to look at it from, you know, the audience's point of view. What would be important to hear? You know, what would I have to hear to get me to listen? And there's a lot. There's a lot of people out there talking and making some interesting videos and stuff about things. But, you know, I try to get something, you know, that addresses people's questions, you know. And right now I think a lot of people are wondering how much time they got left before they have to start thinking about stocking up on everything. My advice to you is this: you could never stock up enough. For 4 years, think about that. If you're going to try to stock up now, you're going to have to bring home enough stuff to last you 4 years. That's assuming Trump even leaves after 4 years. But you're going to have to. Do you have a storage unit somewhere that's like a warehouse? Do you have a big home with multiple refrigerators? You know what I'm saying? My logic suggests that, you know, that would be a futile thing to do. Okay, you're just going to have to be thrifty and think about only taking what you need for the basics. Okay, because if we all start hoarding, that's going to create more panic out there for people who can't find what they need. And you don't want to deprive people out there of something they desperately need because you want more of it than they can afford. You know, you see what I'm saying? I mean, it's not fair. So, we got to be smart. You know, we're going to have to learn rethink how we buy things. Rethink about what we're going to do with our money. Try to expose ourselves to other ways of getting stuff, not breaking the law. But bartering, like I was talking about yesterday, doing that, maybe growing, if you have land or if you have any way at all to grow your own vegetables, to try and do that. Some way to cut corners somehow. Anything. I mean, Jesus. I don't know how the Dollar Trees are going to be impacted by all this. I really don't. But I would suggest that more people try to get things from there. I buy a lot of, cleaning supplies from Dollar Tree, and I'm saving a lot of money instead of buying the name brand stuff. I mean, I get that, I'm just thinking, those kind of things, and it's going to be difficult, okay? Because most things today are going to be costly, no matter what. There's a guy that bought my truck, the old truck that I had, and he's using it to take parts out, the good parts, and resell them to people who need them for their trucks that are of the same model, okay, or close to it anyway. When it comes to vehicle repairs and stuff like that, it would be probably best if you did something like, if you tried to find somebody that would have used parts that are in good condition, because I know most of the parts in my truck, that old truck had, were, really good condition. Okay, that truck didn't have that many miles on it, just 100,000 for an 18-year-old truck. So I never went anywhere with that fucking thing. Okay, so whoever gets any parts out of that'll have something that'll, something dependable. But people need to start looking, in places like that instead of going to a fucking store to get brand new parts. Okay, it'd be, these are things that we used to do back during the Depression. Try to get by. And we have to think differently. As all I can say, to sum up that, is we're going to have to think differently, because a lot of stuff isn't going to come to us anymore, and we don't have any factories to make our own things yet. And if we started building factories now, they wouldn't be up and running for like 2, 3, 4 years maybe. So well after Trump's time is over as president, we'd still have to go through those years pinching pennies until things started. So if he started a program today to build factories that made cars, that made parts, okay, those factories wouldn't be able to start running for years. Okay, if they broke ground today, it would be 3 or 4 years at least before those factories could start up again. I mean, yes, there are abandoned factories here now, but those factories haven't been used in decades, and they're probably not fit to be used. Okay, we couldn't use them. We'd have to build brand new factories. Okay, we just couldn't move shit back into the old Detroit there and try to fucking okay, those days are gone. That boat sailed. They'd have to start anew because they've been left to just deteriorate on the lots, or they've been knocked down, one or the other. So like I said, if we're going to make factories in this country to save this country, because we're not going to be able to get stuff from overseas, then we're going to have to build factories. There's no other way around it. No other fucking way around it. And if we don't start soon, okay, we're going to have to wait longer before things get better in this country. And they won't get better okay, unless the rest of the world decides to forgive us and forgive Trump and then start trading with us again, assuming he decides to eliminate all tariffs, okay, and still we're at the mercy of the rest of the world. We cannot do anything. America does not have the cards right now to come back. Trump took those cards away from us. We don't have the cards now to dictate how things can be. I don't care what Trump says. He's lying to you if he says anything. The truth is, and every economist says it, that we're fucked, you know. We are all looking at declines in everything across the board in the days to come. There's not going to be any gains made for a long time, you know, if any. So anyway, I thought it was good that, you know, I gift this guy some time here on my show here to just, you know, explain from his point of view what he's seeing on the ground, okay? And that's always a good place to get information because it's unfiltered. You're getting, you know, it's not coming from a news agency. You're actually getting from them, okay, what's happening, and you can take their word for it, what they're seeing. So, okay, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow or next day or whatever. So have a great work week. Subscribe, comment, and share, and keep your ears open for health-related issues. And be neighborly out there. Work together as a community, and it will pay off. You know, I'm not going to promise that, but it will probably pay off in some way or other. So I'm hoping you people will be willing to do that. Take care, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Bye.